So we're live now. We're live. We'll wait to get some viewers in on this. Typically wait about 30, 45 seconds, and then we'll get rocking and rolling. So we can get super excited for this though. In the group, I think you basically crushed it last year and kicked ass and took names and had a lot of fun. And you do a lot of interesting things that a lot of people don't do. So that's what I'm excited about in this interview. Right. So we'll give it just say another 20 seconds, get some people in here, get it rocking and rolling. Like I always said, let's let it fly and have a good time.
Right.
And cool. It's okay. It's totally okay, Sherry, if you want to drop the F-bomb.
All right. I'll work on that.
We're just like, here we go. So well, let's get this rocking and rolling, guys. If you can see, it's my good friend Sherry. And I love Sherry. Sherry has got an amazing personality. But what I love about Sherry is, let's just put it this way, guys. She closed $12.468 million last year in 2019, kicked ass, took names, and worked about 30 hours a week. So a lot of times we always say, man, I'm working so much and I'm, trying to do all this business. Cause I know a lot of people that'll do 2 or 3 or 4 million. You all think you're working and you're not doing the intangibles that we need to do business. So I'm super excited for Sherry to share this with us and what you do. So Sherry, tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, tell us your background. Cause you've been in real estate now 7 years, but what did you do before that?
I've done lots of crazy things. I'm originally from Indiana, so I worked in a steel mill, ran an overhead crane. That was probably the craziest job I did. I've worked for a large animal vet. I had my own business in Indiana I owned this tanning salon for several years. And then we moved out here in 2010 and I kind of didn't know what I wanted to do, but we always bought and sold a lot of homes. And when we moved here, we had a great agent. We had a great agent when we lived in Indiana. So it was an opportunity that I thought, this is a great market, so why not do real estate here? The hard part for that was I knew no one. So everybody's like, oh, you have to have a sphere. What's a sphere? I have no sphere. I know no one. So that was my biggest challenge. I hired an agent to mentor me just because, real estate school is great, but it doesn't teach you how to be an agent. So they helped me. The one thing that's kind of interesting is they told me I had to learn all these scripts, which I was like, that's not who I am. And if someone tells me what you're trying to tell me, I have to tell people, I'm going to fire you. So I kind of just became my own person. And one of the comments they told me was, you'll never succeed. He's kind of my challenge. Huh?
That's funny. Let's stop you there because obviously you're my coaching and I do things completely opposite of everybody else. So I think you kind of hit the nail on the head. So I think that's one of the biggest points. If you guys could take any away from this of why Sherry is successful is that scripts don't work. I don't give a shit how good you are at reading that kind of stuff off or whatever. And she's just like, dude, I just want to be myself. Like, let me just be myself. And that's what's going to produce results. So I had to stop you there because those are like really key points that I think people really struggle with. Like, what do I say? What if I say the wrong thing? Well, if you say the wrong thing, you're just going to learn. So, yeah, I think
you're not genuine.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not genuine when you're saying something that I don't want to say I don't believe in, but it's just not me.
Right. Yeah. I mean, why do something that you don't want to do? And obviously, what you started off with is you had a hater.
Yeah.
So you probably don't understand is that when people tell you you're not going to be successful, like I've heard that shit so many times. My head could spin, right? Like, oh, you're not going to make it, or, you're a dick to people, or you're just, no, man, I'm just straight to the point and I got time to sugarcoat stuff. But what you established is some guy saw that you were going to be probably better than he was going to be. And he didn't like that because, that's what people don't understand. If somebody tells you can't make it today in real estate or whatever you're doing right away, that's not a friend. That's just somebody that just doesn't like you. And they're scared of the challenge that you're going to give them because you're going to be better than what they're trying to tell you you could be. Do you agree with that a little bit?
Yeah. And I'm a numbers person. So I don't really care what other people do, but I like to see what other people do because that keeps me motivated. And I did twice as much as that person this year.
Yeah. Weird. You should have sent them a gift basket.
Nah, I don't want them to know.
And had a t-shirt in it and said, I love haters. But it's funny. I mean, It's funny how that transpires. So continue on. I mean, you're here in Arizona, you don't know anybody. So a lot of people always say, like, where do I start? So you hired a mentor. He was obviously a dipshit because you're
Yep.
crushing him, right? And he was
Mhm.
belittling you, and like that's not cool. You didn't want to do that. So
Right.
let's just say people are resetting. You know, it's the first of the new year. We're doing this kind of stuff. People need a reset. If you could take it back to the old days, which I know you still do from what you went started, what would you tell them to start today that they could implement to start getting business and generating conversations and leads?
I think the first thing you have to do is be you and be genuine, because people can see through bullshit.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing you have to do. And then, um, you know, your friends and family also get tired of hearing you hit them up. So you have to think outside that box. So for me, I didn't have anybody. So I hate to tell you all this, but when I started, I paid for Zillow leads because at that time, that's what they were, and they were inexpensive. And I did 12 deals a year for probably the first 3 years from Zillow for a couple $100 a month, because I didn't have a sphere and I didn't know anybody and I didn't know how to get out. But from those people, I've generated more business. And then when Zillow, got greedy, as we all say, pigs get fat, hogs get slaughtered, I said, see you later. I don't need you. But I kept in contact with all my old clients, which is where, like, by year 4, I started getting my past clients selling and buying, and then referrals.
Well, that's a good point right there. So I want to touch on this because I think a lot of people get lost in the transition of that they sell this home to this one client and they think that they're just going to be this lifeline of referrals. But what they don't understand, and you just hit the nail on the head, is that it takes about 3 to 5 years for them to start selling and buying again.
Yep.
But during that 3 to 4 year lapse, like, you're doing nothing for them. You're out here in la la land trying to generate leads from people that you don't know, versus you could have just nurtured those people and then you could have gotten rid of Zillow a long time ago.
Yep.
Because if you really think about it, you got rid of Zillow because now you're getting referrals from the referrals, right? And
yes.
and what happens is you needed to understand is that we should have nurtured them for their friends of friends. Does that make sense?
Yep. Yeah.
So if you could tell anybody, so let's talk about that. Now you're getting referrals and you're telling them to implement that, be genuine. Now, how are you getting the friends of the friends of the friends to get you? Because you've really, I mean, you did 12.5 million and worked 30 hours a week, and you're smiling and laughing.
And I didn't even realize I did that. I mean, you're the one that said, Sherry, how much did you do last year? I don't know. I just worked. I'm happy I get checks. I move on. So you made me stop and go, what is this? And I'm like, okay, I guess I have to sit down and figure this out. So this is what I have to work on. But until I looked at it and went, holy shit, I didn't realize I did 12 million, because some of them were on the MLS, because some of them were new builds, that sort of thing. So I had to go back and dig for those.
Right.
There's not a simple report. So, and as far as keeping in contact with those people, I guess I want to back up. So, like, that's where I need to utilize my Facebook that I don't really utilize, because I didn't have a lot of those people on my Facebook. So that's my goal this year, with your help and you kicking my ass, telling me to do these things, is to reach out to those people. I started my group, I'm slowly moving all that in, to get those friends of friends of friends through the Facebook, because all these people are doing great with it and I'm not, because I'm lacking. So that's what I've got to work on. Other than that, I've just kept in contact with those people, a couple times a year.
Well, let's get this real quick, because you kind of are a badass, right? You're kind of like, I don't care, I don't do this. But
yeah,
I'll tell you guys this. Sherry, when I put that I was doing one-on-one, signed up immediately. And she just signed up for one-on-one, so individual coaching with me. So when she says that I'm going to kick her ass, I am, and I have. And she's the variation. But she does have fear of stuff. Like, she had a fear about making a post about something the other day. And I said, what's the worst that's going to happen? It's just like somebody in the group posted the other day about scared about sending friend requests, and they got a deal out of it. I mean, you just don't know until you know. So people struggle with, like, so much, like, fear of rejection and fear of that. And I know you're not so much that way, but we still are. And I think one of your intangibles that can create fear is a little bit of social media, where you're saying, like, how you do that. So we're going to touch on like how you keep contact, how you do all this kind of stuff. But how do you overcome the fear of not knowing anybody, doing that kind of stuff? Like what made Sheri to do 12.5 million? On the spot.
On the spot. I would tell you that I'm looking at my numbers. I would tell you that 80% of what I did this year was all referrals, my old neighborhood, marketing to that neighborhood, and then just repeat clients and referrals and friends. That's cool. Probably 85% of my business last year. And then the other information that, the other thing I did have a couple low leads off of my listings. But I don't advertise, but just off my listings. A sign call, I got one person out of a sign call. And then I'm a special commission on the special commissioners. So I had a court case last year.
Oh, nice. That's super cool.
And I already have one this year.
Well, let's talk about this real quick, because I think this is important. So they got a great question is, how now moving forward, I know you talked about private groups and things like that. Mm-hmm. How do you keep in contact with all your clientele to get the leads of the leads? So
the one thing that I do, I don't know if everybody knows about the American Lifestyle magazine, which is a magazine that goes out every 60 days that you can, it has great content, and then you can also personalize it however much you want, the front, back, and the 2 inside covers. So I've been doing that for probably 3 years. And to me, that's a very good investment. And 3 of my listings last year that I went to that were past clients all had that magazine laying on their coffee table. So while you don't always know if they're getting it or they're seeing it or makes a difference, it does subconsciously, because you're not shaking your hand going, hey, I'm never too late or never too busy for your referrals. But it's a way to they see you. And that's just a way you keep in mind. So 6 times a year, I touch them with that, which I think is invaluable.
Yeah, I agree, because I think people lose the art of like social media. You guys put out like content about like, here's your weekly stuff you need to do, or here's a monthly snapshot of the market. Guys, if you're listening to this shit, no one cares about that stuff. Right. No, don't put that on your social media, on your posts. Put it up in your stories. That's great. But I've always said it's the lasting impression that's going to work. It's not like if you send them something to eat, it's gone after a day. They don't remember you. But if you send them a magazine 6 times a year and they're going to sit there and read it, or it's going to be on their table and they like you, the chances of getting a deal are going to go way up. So you do that. I know you do client appreciation events. You've got those things going where we talk about that a lot. What other activities do you do with them to do it? Because I know you just created your closed private group. You're starting to get people in there. Yep. Talk about that. How's that working for you so far? I mean, what's the response? Like, what's the response of people getting in?
I have, I think, 25, 26 people in there now. I'm working on adding more. So I really have to go back to my clients, add them as friends, right, to get them in that group. And then, so that's my goal for this next week, is to go through that and then send them the link through an email that says, I have this group. So if they're not on Facebook, I can't see them on Facebook. Right. So I want to work on that. And then my goal is, and I'm working on that right now, is I believe it's February 11th. It's the Sunday after Super Bowl Sunday. I'm going to do a client appreciation group at my house, event at my house. Right. And so I'm looking at how to word that as far as, I help you get your home. I want to invite you into my home. Yeah, I think that's great. So yeah, I like those, let's celebrate, the new year, whatever you want to do. But I think it's just what separates you as a personal touch. If you guys are taking anything from Sheri right now, is that she's telling you she's not a used car salesman. She's not hitting up her clients going, hey, know of anybody looking to buy or sell. She's not once even talked about that she's got an email drip system, CRM system, if she does. She's touching on the things right away that create impressions and engagement and conversations. Things that are lasting impressions and things like that. So if you're focused on that, I know a lot of people do that, and they say, hey, we need a CRM, we need to drip them. If you look at her, she did 12.5 million and worked 30 hours a week, guys. I have no CRM. And she has no CRM. Now, I think CRMs are great if you do them the right way. But you guys know it. It's sending out value. It's sending out information. It's letting them know. But letting them know information about you, like how to get into private group, how to do those kind of things. I mean,
That's what's powerful. So, I mean, you think about this as a $12.5 million producer. She's doing this. And you guys feel free to ask any questions that you want on how you're going to, and what we can answer for you guys in this interview. But I think for me, you kind of like the same mold as me. I don't have a CRM. I use social media and emails. I got a closed private group, works efficiently. But what I love through the interview is you're smiling the whole time. You're just having a good time.
Well, I think with the CRM, the one thing I'll say is how many of us, obviously there's more realtors than lenders in this, so nothing against the lenders, but how many realtors get the same email drip from 20 lenders? It's not genuine. So there, if you do a CRM, you really have to change the scripts to you. You cannot use a generic. If everybody's using the same CRM and they have the same people, which you might not know, those people are getting the same drip. It's not genuine. You become a salesperson.
Yeah, I mean,
so
that's what people, I mean, and I know maybe I lost deals, maybe I didn't. I think I created the right audience, but when I was in the industry of title, I never emailed anybody. People would tell me like, dude, I see you, I see it. Like, please don't email me. Take me off your list. And then the ones, I'll tell you this, the agents that always told me, please put me on your list for your classes, did no fucking business.
Right.
You did like 3 to 5 deals a year, 2, whatever, because you were so like you were so busy going to classes, never implementing anything. And now you look at Sherry and she's like, man, like, we can do that. And yes, guys, the magazine that we're looking at that she does is American Lifestyle Magazine. I had a question on that, so I throw that back up there.
And I can throw a link in there. I can kind of put some pictures in of mine. They're constantly giving you more ability to change different things. And they have another one that's called Healthy Start that I just switched to this year. So I did American Lifestyle for 3 years, and it's the same company. I just changed it to give my audience a different view.
I love it. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of great magazines that you can customize and just get them out there. It's just really, really the touch and you know, where you're getting the business in. Well, so let's talk about this. You only work 30 hours a week. Why? Like, why? How did you build to where you're doing that? Like, you did a ton of volume, but you're not chasing the volume. Like, you didn't make calls. Like, I think it's crazy because 2020 is going to be an interesting year where the cold calls of, hey, you looking to buy or sell? Hey, you looking to buy or sell? Hey, you looking to buy or sell? Smile and dial. I think they're kind of dead. I think they died a couple of years ago because people get annoyed with that. So what are some daily activities that you do to generate the amount of revenue that you've done to stay in front? I know you talked about the lifestyle, but like, talk about your daily routine a little bit so, you know, people can implement a little bit of that and see how that can work for them. Some ideas.
So I get up, I almost always drive a hot tub. So my thing in the morning is to get in there, and then I just kind of think about how I want to plan my day. That's where nobody bothers me. It's kind of where I clear my mind. And so I kind of think about what I'm going to do. So from there, it just kind of depends on what's going on. There's a couple days a week I have my grandkids, so I have them. So I don't really do real estate the times that I have them. Other than that, it's where am I and what can I do? And I have where I used to live, I kind of had my foot in that community. And so we just moved this year and I was scared to death. And I'm like, I don't want to move. I have a great following in this neighborhood. And so I was scared to move and I wanted to keep my foot in the door there. And I will tell you, I had 7 listings in that neighborhood last year. And I just picked up a listing at the end. And I got that because I had 7 listings in there. And I do print marketing in that neighborhood with my, just sold, just listed, which, you have to spend money for that. But that's my farm that I get value out of that community. And there's 2 other agents that interviewed, and I received the listing because I had what they didn't have. They had a couple buys in there, but no listings. So I keep my foot, and I'm trying to keep my foot in that community because it's a good community. The average sale price in there is about $400, which is nice. So I work on that, and then I'm kind of a fly by the seat of your pants. I have to tell you that. That's why I need John to kind of corral me in to work on these other things. But that's just who I am. I'm just kind of like, okay, we'll do this today. That's the truth. So that's where I need you.
Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that. We've got a lot of work to do, but guys, if you think about what Sherry says, is that super important. Every morning she wakes up, she goes where she's not distracted.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of times we wake up in the morning and we've got the cluster of life. Oh, what I got to do? We're constantly looking at our phone. We're oh my gosh, I got to do this. I got to do this. And you know, it's no different. There's another one of my one-on-ones, and he had the same problem, right? And I'm like, dude, just wake up like a couple hours earlier.
Yeah.
And so he's been doing it for a couple of weeks, but obviously I walk him through the little intangibles that you know that I do, like the other integral things. And he's like, it's the craziest thing. No one calls me and bothers me, and I'm done with all my stuff, and I'm more productive. He goes, I get more done in that time, you know, with the systems that we've built out than I do in a day. Mm-hmm. And I think that's where you're hitting it close, is that, you know, it doesn't mean we've got to, you know, wake up at a certain time or whatever. I just think you need to go to a spot where you're not going to be bothered. So that's where it counters where you're when does your phone start ringing? Then you need to get up 2 hours prior and start doing that. You know, I work with you guys as realtors. So I'll tell you, when I first opened the company, I woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning. Now I don't wake up at 4 in the morning because you guys don't bother me until like 9 or 10. Like I could sleep until 7 every day and be fine. But I mean, obviously I'm up well before then, but it's kind of like factoring your day of where it is. So, this is a great question. Now, I obviously have this where I covered it a different way and you are, but if somebody hasn't marketed to their neighborhood and they're wanting to this year in 2020, because I think it's great, because I think people don't farm anymore. There's no real flyer. I hardly get them anymore at my house. People think it's all digital because people got lazy and thought that they could buy Facebook ads and all this other stuff, and it doesn't work. What would you recommend for them to start? Like, give them like 2 marketing pieces to send out that could draw some attention, that maybe like could get to them, and then I'll have my 2 cents. And what would you start with them on that?
I would do a card that maybe says something about your marketing, what you do. That's one of the things on my cards that I send, is they can go to a page that has a marketing your home. So they can click on that, which I got a realtor to do that, which was kind of comical. And I go, do you really want this? No, I just wanted to see what your page was all about. So I do that, and then I can send them that piece. So it's a way to kind of showcase who you are if you haven't done any listings or sales in that neighborhood, but you want people to know. So put your production on that card the first time or something to get them to know that you do all of this work and that you are successful.
Let's say they don't do any production. Let's say they're brand new, because a lot of people, you know, may not be doing the production and stuff like that. What do you, I mean?
You can use your brokerage's sales. I mean, my team, you can say my team. That's true. Your team does this, or, you know, you can word it, because there are new agents that come in that need, you know, that don't have anything. So how do they sell that? And the other thing is have you bought and sold a home? That's what I think makes it even more successful agent. If you personally have bought and sold a home, you know the trials and tribulations that your buyers and sellers go through because you've been there. So you can show them that. So, I mean, I would use both of those options to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I like the how can I help you? You know, don't hesitate to reach out slogans. Guys, when you first start doing a farm, though, you need to know the turnover rate, which is the amount of homes in the subdivision versus the amount of homes that have sold in a fiscal year. Because if the rate isn't, you know, 6% or higher, it may not be your subdivision may not be selling. Like mine right now, I've been telling people to farm this thing for the last year and a half, and things are selling here like hotcakes. And I believe the average sales price is about, you know, $495 to and up. So I mean, you gotta know some statistics before you start farming and doing those types of things. But yeah, that's a great question of farming. I think here's what I think with Sherry, guys, is she does a lot of the new age stuff, but she does a lot of the old traditional stuff by keeping in touch with people, right? She still does farming in neighborhood, which I've told people that's a money maker, but you got to know how to do it, because they're going to look you up, they're going to research you, they're going to find you on social media, they're going to see if they like you, right? Whether they tell you or not, they are, okay? So you got to build out both areas, and then you got to have that touch that's going to lead with them for what you do with the magazine. I think that's great. He doesn't have a CRM. Now, that's not saying that you guys, you know, drop your CRMs. I think they're great if you use them the right way, which I tell you guys, put out better content. And then she does client appreciation stuff, you know. And where she found out is that if she wasn't so focused on buying these Zillow leads during that time, she would have nourished her clients years ago to get the leads of the leads versus she's just chasing the next deal. Now what you guys see what she does is she's constantly staying in touch with her past clients, current clients, and nurturing them to get the deals out of them. So like, so what's the percentage good turnover for farming and neighborhood? 6%. Guys, I'm going to say this a million times. It's in the portal. There's a whole training course on traditional marketing and farming that walks you through everything on how to build it out. But you're not, you don't say like, hey, you looking to buy or sell? You know anybody looking to buy or sell? Do you know anybody looking to buy or sell?
No.
When these people reach out to you, like, so how does the conversation start? So let's say people are doing it, because I know it's shocking to a lot of people when all of a sudden they start getting those. What do you do?
Right. So one of the things too, I think, is that I will reach out to my clients just every couple of months and with the, hey, how's it going? How's things going with your house? You know, only one time I had somebody go, oh, I have termites. You know, other than that, it's always usually good. They're super happy. All my buyers this year, I stopped at Christmas time and gave them a new home ornament. And hey, how do you like your house? We're so happy here. Thank you. I never once asked for anything. I just stopped. How's your house? Here's an ornament for your Christmas tree. I hope things are doing well. And then I had somebody call hey, I just gave your name to my cousin. So it's, for me, I feel like you don't have to ask. If you're genuine and you keep a presence in front of them, they will, and they liked you, they're going to refer you. You have to stay in front of them.
Right.
To me, you just have to stay in front of them in a genuine way, not a salesy way. And, you know, one of the clients that I had, you know, that I got in the very beginning, it took these people 5 years to buy a house. They lived in Washington. They were going to retire here. They had family. So every 6 months they'd come in. I looked at every active adult community in the whole Maricopa County area. And it's like, why are you wasting your time with them? And my thought is they will buy. And I'm learning all these different communities. So to me, it's not a waste of time.
Love that.
They finally bought 2 years ago. Literally, I think it was 5 years that I worked with them. They bought 2 years ago. Within 3 months, their friend contacted me. Hey, I'm going to buy. I'm not waiting 5 years. We laughed, you know. He bought. 6 months later, he referred me to another person. They bought. I just closed the fourth person the end of the year. 4 people out of one person that I put 5 years into. So sometimes you have to, it's not a waste of time. So if you put that time in, it comes back. For me, 3 extra people came back. And again, and they all live in the same community. They all bought in the same community. And they're like, oh, we have more friends that are coming. So to me, if you're genuine.
It's crazy how you say that. I want to just stop you right there so everybody can get a grasp of what this is. He stayed consistent, guys. Like everybody always asks, like there was a question about what the daily schedule, what your schedule looks like. She talked about that prior in the video. If you listen to her, everything is consistency. Everything is there. Like she worked with the same person 5 years, stayed in front of them, stayed in touch with them, right? If somebody reaches out to you and you know they're approved, they know they can do this, like what we do is we're so busy trying to chase that next deal that we're not nourishing the people that we really could do. And if you guys gather anything, another nugget that she's given you is she's nourishing the people that are in her sphere. At the very beginning, she's like, sphere, what's a sphere? And then she learned how to do it. Yep. She's nourishing the people that are like basically in her box, in her network, in her friends of friends, and not being a used car salesman, just being herself and genuine and having a good time. She does the traditional stuff. I mean, I think it's freaking amazing on all the kind of stuff that you've done, but especially the production is, you guys, 12.5 million, 30 hours a week, guys, 12.5 million at 30 hours a week. That is insane. I know people that do that numbers and they're working, they say like 50 hours plus, you know, and she's not buying stuff. So let's do this, Sherry. We got a couple minutes left. Leave them with something. You know, we talked about their daily habits. We talked about different things of farming. We've talked about, you know, being personable and stuff like that. You know, I got a lot of people that'll sign up and they don't put in the effort because they're not the consistency and stuff. Like, you know, we talk about that. We've talked about that personally on the coaching. What advice would you give people if they're walking into 2020? Let's say they ended 2019 in a really shitty part. They're trying to come back. They're trying to build. What positive things can you tell them? Like, what can they do to overcome themselves, basically?
You have to believe in yourself, which is where sometimes I have trouble believing. And so, when John's like, well, how much? And I look at him like, hey, I did really well. I should be believing myself because I did great, So that's where I fail, kind of second guess myself. So don't second guess yourself. Believe that you can do these things. You have to stay positive. So like I get nervous when I'm like, okay, I don't have any listings, I don't have any buyers, but you know what? The next day I get something. So if you stay positive, I think that's huge. You can't be negative. You have to stay away from the negativity. And the same thing with negative people in your life. You have to kind of kick them to the curb and you have to stay positive because then you breed positivity and things come to you, even though I think Carmen said this in hers. If you believe in yourself and you stay positive, everything comes to you. So I think that's the biggest thing that you have to do. And if you don't have any clients, you have people that already believe in you. So have a conversation with them without saying, send me business. You can have a conversation without asking for that, and it will come to you. That's how I look at things. So I think those are the biggest things. And if you have business, go back to those people and just have a conversation with them. Hey, how is it going? Even if you haven't talked to them for a few years, first look them up on the tax records, make sure they still have that house, and then reach out to them and say, hey, I'm sorry I haven't connected with you. I wanted to follow up. How are things with your house? How are things with your family? And just have that conversation. And again, you don't ask for anything. You just, you care and you show that you care. You have to be genuine though. Don't be fake. If you're going to be fake, don't waste your time.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I mean, I think if you guys really take it, it's being yourself and stuff, but be consistent, whether you got no buyers, no sellers, but if you're consistent, it's like me. I don't sign people up every day into the coaching. I don't. Like some days I'm like, holy crap, I got a couple, where'd they come from? And I research it, but it's no different from me. Like people will look at my stuff and I've had some at the beginning of the year and some towards the end, they're like, yeah, I've been watching your stuff and seeing, and the question is, will it help my business? I'm like, well, duh, yeah. I mean, anything's going to help your business if you're consistent, and just being yourself and having fun. And this is it. It's just being genuine, be yourself and have fun. And Sherri's always smiling and stuff. And yeah, when we do our coaching, she gets busted up. Maybe she might not be smiling so much after we're done, but
it's more like, holy shit.
Yeah. But guys, she had some great takeaways today. Sherri, I just want to thank you so much for your time. I know your time is valuable. You got the grandkids and you got family and you got things that you're doing. So we appreciate you taking time out of your day and sharing your knowledge on, guys, 12.5 million, 30 hours a week of work. That is incredible. And I'm going to get her numbers up more, but I'm actually going to make her work less hours a week because we're building out her systems. Imagine this. She doesn't have all her systems worked out and she still did that amount of volume working 30. Can you imagine when she's working 20? It's just going to be nuts and having fun and doing the same stuff. So can't thank you enough, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. You guys had some great questions. I think she hit it nail on the head. Be yourself. Still do traditional marketing. Reach out there. Use the social media, guys. Have the groups, client appreciations. Just don't be salesy. Be yourself.
The other thing I would say too is if you don't like what you're doing, leave. You have to like what you do. So if you're miserable in real estate, then it may not be the profession for you.
Yeah. Yeah, but then we could always turn it around. Just maybe there's things in your life that are making you not happy, and we run into those things. So, like she says, every morning she goes and sits in her hot tub, and it's her time. Like no one else bothers her. So, you guys, if you take anything, you guys got to. I always talk about debriefing every day, like getting that going. But you guys have an amazing rest of your day. Go kick ass. Go change people's lives. But thank you again, Sherri. We greatly appreciate you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.